My wife called me just a roommate to her friends, so I made her one. Exposed the truth.
My wife Joey told her friends I was just her roommate, so I made damn sure she got what she wished for. I'm Baron, 30, and man, I need to get this crap off my chest. My life did a full-blown nosedive thanks to my wife, Joey. She's 28. We've been married 3 years, but the whole ride's been close to 6. We met at a bar, a classic setup. Some mutual friends introduced us. She wasn't drop-dead gorgeous or anything, but she had this bold, magnetic confidence that pulled me right in. We clicked. Numbers were exchanged, and a couple weeks later, we were officially dating.
Honestly, the first stretch was great. We did all the standard couple stuff, weekend getaways, awkward family introductions. Her parents? Cold as hell, but I let it slide. About a year in, we moved in together. I proposed on our second anniversary, and 8 months later, we tied the knot. Nothing huge, just close friends and family. 6 months before the wedding, I bought us a house. All in my name, since I dumped my life savings into that down payment after grinding away at my job. So yeah, in the beginning, married life was solid. We'd both get home from work, cook dinner, binge some shows, normal domestic bliss. We even tossed around the idea of having kids someday. But looking back, I should have seen the shift. Somewhere in year 2, Joey started changing. She was all in on her marketing job. Late nights, constant networking events, career-building weekends. And me? I tried to be the supportive husband. Told myself it was temporary, that she was just chasing her dreams. So I picked up the slack. Laundry, cooking, cleaning, whatever. I even covered most of the bills because she said she needed to focus on her future before thinking about money.
It started with small stuff. Nothing wild at first. Joey would cancel our date nights last minute with the casual, "Something came up at work." She was glued to her phone constantly, even when we were supposed to be spending time together. And if I ever mentioned it, she'd act like I was some kind of villain for not supporting her hustle. So I shut up. Figured maybe I was being clingy. Weekends? Forget about it. She was either wiped from the grind or magically had plans, brunches, shopping sprees with her girl gang. And I was never part of those. Not even a "wanna come?" Like I didn't exist. It started feeling like we were just coexisting, breathing the same air but not part of the same life anymore. Then a couple months ago, out of nowhere, she tells me her friend group's doing this dinner thing at some trendy new place downtown, and she wants me to come. I was stunned. It had been forever since she included me in anything social. I didn't jump for joy, though. Most of her friends are these marketing and PR types who live for office gossip and shallow drama I can't relate to. But still, I thought maybe she's trying to loop me back in. So we went. 8 people total. Me, Joey, and 6 of her friends. The restaurant was packed and buzzing, and we got this long-ass table where I ended up like 3 seats away from her. Stuck between Reese, who was too busy chatting across the table, and some random dude buried in his phone. I just sat there, sipping my soda, dead quiet. No one talked to me, no eye contact, nothing. It was like I was a ghost at their cool kids table. But honestly, that wasn't even the worst part. I was used to it. At this point, being Joey's invisible husband was just another Thursday.
I was zoning out when I suddenly caught Shelby, one of Joey's friends, asking, "So, how's married life treating you these days?" The tone was off, like she already knew the answer and was just baiting the line. I tuned in, and holy hell, I wish I hadn't. Joey let out this cold, dismissive little snort. Not a laugh, not even a joke, and said, "Please, he's just my roommate now. Just my roommate." I froze. Beer halfway to my lips. like someone sucker punched me in the chest. Who says that? About their husband? In public? And she wasn't being playful or sarcastic. Nah, she said it like it was just some everyday truth, like everyone at the table already knew I was irrelevant. What's worse, she looked right at me when she said it, saw that I was listening. And you know what she did? Nothing. Not even a blink. No apology, no cover-up. Just didn't care. And the rest of the table? They laughed, nodded. One of them even said, "Don't all husbands become glorified roommates eventually?" And they lost it, laughing even harder. Except for one person, Jolene. She's newer to the group. I'd only met her once or twice. She didn't laugh. She glanced at me with this look, like she actually saw me, like she realized I was being humiliated and for 1 second gave a damn. The rest of the night, it's a blur. I sat there, eating and drinking on autopilot, barely hearing anything. Just that word, roommate, looping in my head like a curse. And Joey? She never once turned to me, never checked if I was okay, didn't even acknowledge what she said.
On the drive home, she was in full chatty wife mode, rambling about the food, her friend's new job, some drama with a coworker, acting like she hadn't just blown a hole through our marriage. Meanwhile, I sat in the passenger seat thinking, did I just witness the moment my marriage officially died? I barely said a word on the ride home, just threw out one-word answers and fake-ass nods while Joey kept rambling like everything was peachy. We got home, and she immediately flopped onto the couch like a queen, scrolling through Instagram like she hadn't just torched our marriage in front of half the city, like she hadn't humiliated me in public and crushed what little respect we still had between us. I just stood there, watching her, waiting for her to say something. Anything. A hey, sorry, maybe a did that come out wrong? Hell, even a crappy excuse would have been better than nothing. But she just kept scrolling. And that's when it hit me, like really hit me. Maybe that comment wasn't off the cuff. Maybe she meant it. Maybe that's how she actually sees me now. Just some dude she shares a house with, a guy who pays the mortgage, covers the bills, and sleeps on the other side of the bed. Not her husband, not her partner, just the roommate. I couldn't bite it down anymore. So, I'm really just your roommate now? I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral. Didn't want to come off as pissed, but God, I was. Joey looked up from her phone, annoyed, like I'd just interrupted her precious scroll session. What are you even talking about?
At dinner, you told your friends I'm just your roommate. She rolled her eyes and went right back to her feed. Oh my God, it was a joke. Don't be so sensitive. Didn't sound like a joke, I said. Well, it was, she snapped. You're seriously overreacting. Can we not do this right now? I'm tired. And that was it. No sorry, no ownership, no attempt to understand why it might have wrecked me. It just made me feel like I was the crazy one for being hurt, like I was the problem for caring. I didn't push it. I needed space to think, figure out how to handle this without exploding. But one thing was clear. Something inside our marriage was busted, deeply, and I couldn't pretend otherwise anymore. Next morning, I went through my routine like a zombie. Same old motions, shower, coffee, shirt half tucked in. Joey? She was her usual whirlwind, rushing around, late for something, barely said a word, except to ask if I'd seen her phone charger. Just another normal day. For her. Me?
I was driving to work with her voice still ringing in my head. Just my roommate, over and over like it was branded on my brain. And the more I sat with it, the more my blood boiled. I mean, I've been killing myself for years to build a damn life with this woman. I bought the house she lives in. I cover the bulk of the bills. I've picked up every chore she's too busy to do. I've bent over backwards to support her career while she's out there, grabbing cocktails with her work crew, staying late at the office every other night, acting like I'm some background noise in her little boss lady fantasy.
And after all that, this is how she sees me? Just a random guy occupying the other side of the bed? Like I'm no more significant than a Craigslist roommate? By the time I pulled into the office parking lot, I'd made up my mind. If Joey wants a roommate instead of a husband, fine, she can have one. So on my lunch break, I walked down the block to the bank and opened a brand new account. I transferred almost everything from our joint account into it, left just enough to cover my half of the bills for the month. That's it. No extras. I mean, I've been covering like 80% of everything because I earn more. But hey, roommates split things down the middle, right? When I got home that night, I didn't ask Joey about her day. Didn't tell her about mine. Just gave her a dry hey and went straight into the spare room where I keep my gaming setup. Normally, we'd figure out dinner together, wait on each other. But not tonight. I ordered a pizza for one. When it arrived, I grabbed a couple slices and went right back to gaming. No invite, no mention. Joey walked in looking confused. You ordered pizza? Where's mine? I didn't even look at her. Just got some for myself. Figured if you were hungry, you'd get your own. She stood there like she expected me to say more, to explain, to care. But I didn't. I just kept playing. She just muttered, okay, and walked off like it was no big deal. A few minutes later, I heard her banging around in the kitchen, making herself something to eat. That moment? That was the beginning of what I now call Operation Roommate. Over the next couple weeks, I flipped the switch. No more husband behavior. I stopped checking in during the day. No cute, how's your meeting going texts. I stopped picking up her oat milk and favorite yogurt at the store. Stopped folding her laundry in with mine. Stopped offering to grab her stuff or reminding her about anything. I didn't tell her when I'd be home, where I was going, or what I was eating. In short, I quit being a husband and started acting like a dude she happened to share rent with. At first, Joey didn't seem to notice. Or if she did, she didn't say a word. She kept up her usual routine, working late, texting nonstop, glued to her phone whenever she was home. But after a week, cracks started to show. One night, she got back from wherever she'd been and yanked the fridge open like she was hunting something. Then she turned around with this irritated look on her face. There's like no food in here. Didn't you go grocery shopping? Eyes still on my laptop, I said, yeah, my stuff's on the left side. Your stuff? What about everything else? I just picked up what I needed. Figured you'd grab what you want. She made this frustrated little grunt. Since when do we buy groceries separately? I finally glanced up. I don't know, just trying something different. That's a problem? She stared at me for a second, mouth slightly open, like she couldn't decide whether to argue or let it go. Then she just mumbled, whatever, and ordered herself takeout. But the real fun kicked in about 2 weeks into the experiment. Joey texted me one afternoon. She was at some boutique trying to buy those overpriced shoes she'd been obsessing over, and her card declined. She called me right after, already pissed. Why the hell is there only $700 in our joint account? That's your half of the bills this month, I said, cool as ice. My half? What do you mean? Where's the rest of the money? I opened my own account. That's my paycheck there. The joint one's just for bills now. She went silent. Then, you moved our money without even telling me? Not our money, my money. You've got your own job, your own income. But we've always shared. Yeah, I cut her off.
And I thought we were married, not roommates. Guess things change. She was still sputtering something when I said, "Look, I've got a meeting," and hung up. When Joey got home that night, she was straight up fuming, slammed the door, marched into the living room where I was half watching a rerun, and just stood there in full meltdown mode. Arms crossed, jaw tight. "We need to talk. What the hell is going on with you?" I hit mute on the TV. "What's up?" "Don't what's up me, Baron. You know what's up. The bank account, the groceries, the way you've been acting. What is your deal?" I shrugged. "No deal. Just making a few adjustments." "Without even talking to me? That's not how marriages work." Boom. My opening. I turned to her and locked eyes. "Oh, so we're in a marriage now. That's funny, because I remember you telling your friends, I'm just your roommate. So, hey, I'm just playing the part, Joey."
She blinked, face going through like 5 emotions in 2 seconds. "That was a joke," she said, voice pitching up. "I didn't mean anything by it. Didn't sound like a joke to me, or your friends. Pretty sure I saw a whole lot of nodding and laughing. It was girl talk. You're being way too sensitive." "Maybe, or maybe I've just finally caught up. You've been treating me like a roommate for months, Joey. You barely talk to me, you're always on your phone, constantly going out without me. I'm just returning the favor now." Her eyes narrowed. "So this is payback. Seriously? Real mature, Baron. Not payback, just aligning things with how they actually are. Roommates don't share finances. Roommates don't shop for each other or fold laundry. They don't check in or make dinner plans. They live parallel lives under one roof. Sound familiar?" She stared at me, opening and closing her mouth like she couldn't decide which personality to pick. Then she threw up her hands and stormed out, muttering something about how ridiculous I was being. But over the next few days, something shifted. Joey started trying. She'd send me texts in the middle of the day, "Hope your meeting went well," kind of stuff. She suggested takeout. She even asked how my day was. Too little, too late. I wasn't falling for that. Because Operation Roommate? That wasn't even close to done. In fact, I was just leveling it up. About 3 weeks in, something unexpected happened. I was grabbing coffee before work at this cafe I like, just zoning out, when I heard someone say my name. I turned and saw Jolene, one of Joey's friends, the only one at that dinner who didn't laugh when Joey dropped the roommate bomb. "Hey, Baron, right?" she said, walking over. "Joey's husband." I nodded. "Yeah, hey, Jolene."
She gave me this little smile, kind of surprised I remembered her name. "Good memory. I didn't know you came here." I chuckled. Their coffee's miles better than the stuff at the office. There was this awkward pause. I could tell she had something on her mind, but wasn't sure if she should say it. Finally, she leaned in a little. "I've been meaning to reach out. That dinner, a few weeks back, what Joey said, it wasn't okay. I just wanted you to know, not everyone thought it was funny." That hit me harder than I expected. Someone actually acknowledging it? "Thanks," I said. "Really, that means a lot." She hesitated. "Are you two okay? I mean, I know it's not really my place." I shrugged. "We're figuring it out." No way I was unloading the whole train wreck on her. Not yet. Even if she did seem genuinely kind. Jolene nodded. "Well, for what it's worth, I think you seem like a good guy." That made me smile for the first time in weeks. "Thanks, Jolene." We ended up talking for about 15 minutes. Turns out, she's actually pretty damn cool. Turns out, Jolene was a physical therapist. She'd moved to the city around 6 months back and got looped into Joey's friend group through some mutual connection. Honestly, She was super easy to talk to. No pretentious small talk, no fake smiles. Just real conversation. It felt good, like weirdly good, to talk and have someone actually give a crap about what I was saying.
Before we headed out, she hesitated a second, then said, "Look, I know this might be a little weird, but if you ever need someone to talk to, here's my number." She grabbed a napkin, scribbled it down, and slid it to me. I'll admit, I wasn't totally sure what her angle was. Part of me thought it was a little over the line. I mean, she was Joey's friend, or at least part of that orbit. But at the same time, I needed help. I was drowning, and it kind of felt like she was just trying to be kind. "Thanks," I said, folding the napkin and slipping it into my pocket. "I might actually take you up on that." Fast forward a couple days. I was having one of those days. Joey had been riding my ass all week, pissed about the money situation, whining about how childish I was being, how unfair it was she had to split bills now. And then I saw it. A charge on our joint credit card. The one I thought I'd already canceled. 500 freaking bucks for a purse. 3 guesses who bought it. I was just sitting there in my car, parked in the office lot, absolutely seething. And then I remembered the napkin in my glove box, Jolene's number. I stared at it for a second, then texted her. "Hey, it's Baron. That offer to talk is still good?" She responded almost instantly.
Absolutely. Is everything okay? We ended up grabbing coffee after work. I didn't plan to spill everything. I just needed to breathe, honestly. But when I saw those big, warm eyes really looking at me, it just happened. It all came pouring out. The roommate comments, how Joey had been checked out for months, how I'd launched my little operation of emotional detachment. Everything. Jolene didn't interrupt. Didn't judge. She just listened, asked the occasional question, and when I finally hit pause, she let out this soft sigh. "I don't know Joey that well," she said, a little hesitant, "but from what I've seen, she talks about you pretty differently when you're not around." That stopped me cold. "What do you mean?" She shifted in her seat. She looked uncomfortable, like she regretted saying anything. She just complains a lot, says you're boring, says she feels stuck. Wow. I didn't even know what to say to that. "I'm sorry," she added quickly. "I probably shouldn't have said anything."
"No, thank you. I actually really appreciate honesty." Right before we left, she reached out and gently touched my arm. "Baron, you deserve someone who's proud to be with you, not someone who makes you feel like a burden." And damn, that hit deep. She wasn't wrong. That was the first moment I stopped seeing Jolene as Joey's friend. She wasn't just some background character. She noticed things, saw me, saw the cracks before I'd even admitted they were there. After that, we started texting here and there. Nothing flirty, just casual check-ins, dumb work complaints, inside jokes. But it felt different. Like, finally, someone was actually listening. No eye rolls, no sighs, just attention. And God, I hadn't realized how much I missed that until it came back. Joey, of course, didn't notice a damn thing. She was too caught up in her little world, still going out 3-4 nights a week with her work friends, coming home way late. And every time she walked through that door, she reeked of cologne. Not mine, someone else's. I'm not an idiot. I knew where this was heading. But I needed proof before I made any kind of move. Let me be clear, I'm not the paranoid type. I've been cheated on before, back in college, and I swore I'd never become that guy. The one who checks phones, scrolls through messages, or installs spyware. But there's a difference between being paranoid and seeing signs that are slapping you in the face. And Joey? She was waving every damn red flag like she was in a parade. Late nights, secretive with her phone, suddenly hanging out with new coworkers I'd never even heard of, and dressing up like she was heading to the Met Gala just for a client lunch. And the cologne? Come on. It didn't take Sherlock Holmes to put this together. Still, I wanted to be sure. So first, I tried going straight to the source. One morning, while she was sipping her smoothie and doom-scrolling her feed, I asked casually, "So who's this new work friend you've been seeing a lot of lately?" She barely even looked up. "Oh, just people from marketing. No one is interesting." "Seems like you're spending a lot of time with them," I said. She rolled her eyes. "What, are you tracking my schedule now?" Then, like a damn cherry on top, she added, "I thought we were just roommates," complete with finger air quotes. I just walked away. Clearly, asking wasn't going to get me anywhere. So I made a call. One some people might judge, but I was past caring. I bought an AirTag. If you don't know, it's this tiny Apple tracker. Technically, it's for keys or luggage, but yeah, people use it for other stuff too. I waited for a morning when she was still knocked out cold. Her keys were on the counter, like always. I slipped the AirTag into the little pocket in her center console, right next to her stash of old receipts and loose quarters. Then I put the keys back. It took less than 30 seconds. That afternoon, she texted me the usual. "Working late again, don't wait up." Perfect.
Around 6 p.m., I opened the Find My app on my phone. Her car was on the move, but she wasn't heading downtown to her office. She was driving toward this upscale apartment complex on the north side of the city. Her car stopped there at exactly 6:45. My heart was in my throat. Part of me was hoping there was some logical explanation. Maybe a friend lived there, maybe there was some kind of event. But deep down, I already knew. And I wasn't wrong. For the next 3 days, I tracked her like clockwork. Tuesday, told me she had dinner with coworkers. Her car sat at the same apartment complex from 7 to 11 p.m. Thursday, claimed she had a late meeting with a client. GPS showed her parked outside that building until almost midnight. I didn't even have to snoop through her texts or confront her. The damn AirTag was doing all the talking. During all this, I started texting Jolene. I didn't tell her exactly what I was doing, just vented. Let out little bits of what I was feeling. She didn't push for details, but she was there. I kept texting Jolene through all of it, just venting mostly, telling her about Joey's obvious lies, the excuses, the perfume that wasn't mine. She was supportive, always, but cautious too. "You sure you want to know?" she texted. "Sometimes finding out hurts more than wondering." "I need to know," I replied. "I'm done being made to look like a damn fool." That's when I decided to go all in. The next Tuesday, Joey hit me with the usual. "Late meeting, don't wait up." I told her I was grabbing drinks with a couple guys from work and wouldn't be back until late either. Total BS. Instead, I parked down the block from the fancy apartment complex I'd tracked her to. Engine off, phone ready. At exactly 6:30, Joey's car pulled in. I watched as she parked, flipped down the mirror, touched up her makeup like she was getting ready for a date, not a business meeting, and strutted toward one of the buildings. She typed in a code like she'd done it 100 times and disappeared inside. I sat there for 15 minutes, heart pounding, brain racing. Part of me wanted to blow the whole damn thing up.
Kick down the door, catch them red-handed, make a scene she'd never forget. But what would that do? More chaos, more drama, and I was so damn tired. So instead, I pulled out my phone and snapped a few pics. Her car in the lot, the building she went into. Timestamps. Proof. And I took a long breath and drove home. How was it? I had what I needed. My wife, Joey, was cheating. Now the only question left was, what the hell was I going to do about it? I called Jolene on the drive home. She picked up instantly. I was right about everything, I told her, my voice flat. "Oh, Baron," she said quietly. "I'm so sorry. What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet," I said, staring out at the street. "But I'm done being her roommate." That night, I didn't even sleep in our bed. Crashed in the spare room. Joey didn't get home until past midnight and didn't even notice. Didn't ask why the bed was empty. Nothing. The next morning, I called in sick to work. No way I was sitting through Zoom calls and spreadsheets while my marriage collapsed around me. I spent the whole morning researching divorce attorneys. Found one with solid reviews who could meet that same afternoon. I laid everything out for him. Every brutal detail. The roommate comment, the cheating, the house, our finances, all of it. "So, where do I stand here?" I asked once I finished. He leaned back, steepled his fingers. "Legally, you're in decent shape. You bought the house before marriage, it's in your name, no kids makes it easier, and Virginia's not a pure no-fault state, so her affair could swing things your way." "The only question is," he said, eyeing me, "how ugly do you want this to get?" I thought for a second. "I don't want war," I said. "I just want out." "Smart man," he replied with a smirk. "The ones who want revenge, they end up paying me double." We started drafting paperwork that same day. "Document everything," he told me. "Her absences, expenses, texts. Don't tip her off. Wait until we're ready." I paid the retainer and walked out feeling lighter, like I finally had the wheel back in my hands. When I got home, Jolene texted me, "How are you holding up?" I texted her back, "Want to meet for coffee?" She said yes. We met at a small cafe a few towns over, the kind of place Joey's friends wouldn't be caught dead in. When Jolene walked in and saw me, her face shifted instantly. "You look wrecked," she said, concern in her voice. "Haven't been sleeping?" I just stirred my coffee and nodded. "Met with a divorce lawyer today." Her eyes widened. "Wow, that was fast." "Yeah, well, once I saw what I needed to see, the decision wasn't hard. The marriage has been on life support for months." She nodded slowly. "Still, that's a huge step." Then she reached across the table and gave my hand a gentle squeeze. Quick, not dramatic, but real. And honestly, that one small touch felt more sincere than anything Joey had given me in a long, long time. "What happens next?" she asked. "Lawyers working on the papers. I'm still gathering the receipts. Then I serve her and ask her to leave." Jolene's brow creased. "She's not going to take that well." I shrugged. She should have thought about that before crawling into someone else's bed. We stayed there for almost 2 hours, not just talking about the divorce, but everything. Our jobs, weird family stories, favorite movies, places we wanted to travel someday. It was easy. Natural. No awkward pauses, no judgment, just two people talking like they actually wanted to hear what the other had to say. When we finally stood up to leave, she pulled me into a hug, tight, but comforting. "You're going to be okay, Baron." And for the first time in weeks, I actually believed it. After that, I went full steam ahead.
Spent the next few days collecting every piece of evidence I could. Screenshots of bank statements showing I covered everything, credit card charges for dinners I never ate, hotels I never stayed at, on nights she claimed she was out with friends. I even downloaded the full AirTag tracking history, compiled it all into a neat folder for Grant, my lawyer. And Joey? Still completely clueless.
She kept doing her thing. Late nights, silent treatment, weekends with the girls. It wasn't just insulting anymore. It was fuel. The nerve of it all just lit a fire under me. Meanwhile, Jolene and I started texting every day. Nothing shady. I wasn't about to be the one who cheats. But, yeah, we were getting closer. She opened up about her past, her complicated family stuff. I'd told her things I hadn't shared with anyone in years. She made me laugh at a time when I thought I'd forgotten how. It felt good to have someone who was in my corner. No strings, no judgment. Exactly a week after that first lawyer visit, the papers were ready. Grant gave me the rundown. It's best if you serve her when she's not expecting it, ideally with a witness, just in case she flips or tries to twist the story later. Without a second thought, I texted Jolene, "Would you be my witness?" Her reply was instant. "Absolutely. I'll be there. Whatever you need." We set it for Friday night. I knew Joey would be home. Time to end the charade. Friday came faster than I expected. I spent the morning reviewing everything with Grant, making sure I was ready for whatever scene might unfold. He handed me the divorce packet in a manila envelope. It felt way too light for something so massive. All day, Jolene kept sending little messages. "You got this. Stay strong. I'm proud of you." Nothing dramatic, but in the middle of all the chaos, it helped more than I could explain. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop near my place around 6 p.m. Joey usually got home close to 7 on Fridays, unless she went straight to her little boyfriend's apartment. The plan was for Jolene to head over around 6:30, and we'd wait for Joey together. We sat at the cafe for a bit, not really touching our drinks, just sitting, waiting. At 6:25, we drove back to the house. Jolene pulled up in this sleek SUV that probably cost more than my entire living room. I wasn't expecting that.
Walking into the house with her felt strange. Having her, Joey's old friend, here, in what used to be our space. But it didn't feel like ours anymore. And Jolene? She wasn't on Joey's side these days. I started doing this awkward little tour, pointing out dumb things like, "That lamp doesn't work," just to fill the silence. Jolene gave me this soft smile and said, "You don't need to give me the real estate walkthrough, Baron. I'm here for moral support." I chuckled, rubbing the back of my neck. Yeah, guess I'm just not used to someone actually wanting to be here. She tilted her head a bit, reading between every line I didn't say out loud. When we got to the living room, she suddenly reached up and adjusted my shirt collar, just smoothed it out with this tiny, gentle motion. I froze. The touch was so casual, so natural, but it hit me in the gut because no one had touched me like that in forever, not out of love or care. "There," she whispered, fingers lingering a second too long before she stepped back. "You're all set." I swallowed hard, feeling my pulse in my ears. Thanks." She just grinned and dropped onto the couch like she had always belonged there. Anytime. And right then, I started seeing her differently. Not just as Joey's friend, not even as my friend,
At 7:10, I heard the crunch of tires in the driveway. Joey was home. Jolene and I were already in the living room, divorce papers front and center on the coffee table, everything laid out like a silent ambush. The front door opened. Joey walked in, calm and cool as ever, until she saw us. She froze. Eyes darted from me to Jolene and back again. "What's going on?" she snapped, voice already loaded with attitude. "Why is she here for that?" I stood up. "We need to talk, Joey." She turned toward Jolene, face tightening. "Why is she here for that?" "This is still my house," I said, picking up the envelope, "and she's here as a witness." "A witness for what?" she asked, folding her arms tight across her chest.
I handed her the papers. "I'm filing for divorce." Her whole face dropped, like her brain just hit a blue screen trying to process it. "Divorce?" she echoed, and she scoffed, latching onto the first excuse she could find. "Are you serious? Over your little roommate tantrum?" I didn't flinch. "No," I said calmly, "because you're cheating on me, and have been for months." She let out this fake, sharp laugh. "That's insane. I'm not cheating on you." "Don't," I cut her off. "I know about the guy at Parkview. I know how often you're there." The color drained from her face instantly. You followed me?" she asked, voice rising. "What the hell, Baron?" I just shook my head, amused at how fast she tried flipping the blame. Didn't need to. I tapped my phone and stared her dead in the eyes. I've got weeks of proof. Every late night, every work thing, every so-called girls' night, all leading to the same damn address. Joni's eyes darted to Jolene, then back to me. Her face twisted from shock to rage. "You tracked me? That's insane. That's psychotic." Then she turned to Jolene, pointing like she was throwing daggers. "And you're part of this?" Jolene didn't flinch, didn't even blink. She didn't need to. I wasn't about to let Joni twist this around like she always did. "Jolene has nothing to do with this," I said, voice cool as steel. "This is about you, about your decisions, and the fact that you got caught." Joni crossed her arms tight across her chest, switching tactics. "So I screwed up. People screw up, Baron. That doesn't mean you just throw it all away." Her voice softened. Her eyes went wide, like she was trying to find the version of me that used to cave. "We can fix this. We'll go to counseling. I'll stop seeing him. We can start fresh. Just talk to me. Alone." Then she shot Jolene a glare so sharp, I thought it might actually knock her over. And that's when I twisted the knife. I leaned back in the chair, blank-faced, the same empty look she'd given me 1,000 times. "Why are you so upset?" I asked, letting the sarcasm drip. "I'm just your roommate, right? Isn't that what you wanted?" She scoffed, rolling her eyes like I was the one being dramatic. "You're seriously still mad about that dinner?" "Darren, it was a joke." I gave her a slow, fake nod, like I just finally understood. "Oh, right, a joke. Hilarious." Then I tilted my head. "So, just wondering, do you normally joke about replacing your husband with another guy? Just for laughs?" Her jaw clenched. But I wasn't done. "You were right, though," I continued, voice calm. "We are just roommates. And since I'm the one footing most of the bills," I motioned to the door. "Yeah, I'm gonna need you to pack your crap.
and get the hell out of my house. That was when she completely lost it. Crying, screaming, chucking pillows and whatever she could grab. She called me every name under the sun, flipped to begging, then rage, then back to tears again. Classic manipulation cycle. Might have worked once, not anymore. "And where the hell am I supposed to go?" she shouted. Like that was my problem. I raised an eyebrow. "I don't know. Maybe your boyfriend's place? You seem to spend enough time over there." That only set her off more. Eventually, she stormed out, slamming the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. Jolene helped me pick it up. I tried to lighten the mood. "Well, that went about how I expected." She gave me a soft smile. "You did great. You stood your ground." The next day, Joey came back with Reese in tow, acting like she was just going to walk in, like nothing ever happened. Too bad I'd changed the locks. They stood outside, calling my phone, pounding on the door like I owed them something. I didn't answer. Just texted Joey and told her she could come get her stuff on Saturday, when I'd have backup. That Saturday? Tense as hell.
My brother Lucas showed up early, thank God, because Joey rolled up with Reese and her dad, clearly thinking he could intimidate me into folding. Her dad came in hot, red in the face, yelling about how I had no right to kick his daughter out of her home. I looked Joey's dad dead in the eye, calm as ever, and said, "Actually, I've got every legal right. My name's on the deed. I own this place before your daughter ever moved in. And by the way, she cheated. But hey, if you'd rather hash that out in court, where I'll make all the evidence public record, I'm good with that." That shut him up real quick. Joey, meanwhile, shot daggers at me the entire time while she packed. Tried to work the tears when her dad and Reese weren't looking, whispered that she'd made a mistake and wanted to fix things. I didn't say a word, just turned around and walked out. After that, the divorce went down way smoother than I expected. She didn't contest anything. Once her lawyer saw what I had, receipts, timelines, AirTag data, she folded. 4 months later, it was all finalized. Quick, clean, and brutal. And the cherry on top? He dumped her. Yep. Her little side piece, the guy she threw away a marriage for, booted her barely 2 weeks after she moved in. Word on the street is he was fine being the fun secret, but had zero interest in actually being her boyfriend. So, she ended up back at her parents' place at 28, tail between her legs. Bet that stung her pride. As for me and Jolene, well, that part's been slower, but better. We got closer through everything. And yeah, about a month after Joey moved out, we started officially dating. Once I felt ready.
Turns out Jolene is incredible. Thoughtful, funny, smart as hell. And she actually sees me, listens when I talk. Something I didn't even realize I'd been starved of for years. We're taking things slow. Both of us had been burned before. No rushing into living together. She stays over some nights, helps me redo the house, which honestly needed it. Joey's decor taste was always a bit much for me. The other night, we were out at this cozy little spot downtown for dinner, just laughing and having a great time, when, of course, Joey walks in, with some new guy in tow. She spotted us instantly, beeline to our table, a fake smile painted on like she practiced it in the mirror. "Well, isn't this cute?" she said, eyes darting between me and Jolene. "Didn't take you long to move on." Before I could even open my mouth, Jolene looked up at her, calm and poised, and said, "He's not just my roommate, he's my everything." Joey froze, mouth hanging open, blinking like she'd just been slapped. Her date looked like he wanted to disappear. Eventually, he tugged at her elbow and led her away. I couldn't stop grinning. Jolene turned to me, half laughing. "Too much?"
I reached across the table and took her hand. "Nah," I said. "That was perfect." So yeah, that's where things stand now. The divorce is done, the house is mine, and I'm dating someone who genuinely gives a damn about me. Life's still messy. Divorce takes a toll, no matter how right you are. But for the first time in a long time, I'm happy. Sometimes I still think about that night when Joey called me just her roommate. Back then, it felt like getting gutted in public. Now I realize it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Funny how the worst moment of your life can be the one that sets you free.